What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Boombox Guru, music commentary and music discussion for music lovers. I'm your host, LB, and we got a very good episode for you guys today. So if you don't want to miss out, tune in and keep it locked in. What's good, everybody? Yo, this your host, LB. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Boombox Guru. So I wanted to do this episode, and I wanted to do a recap on last night's versus battle between E40 and Too Short. Now, I did a previous episode about E40 and Too Short announcing about this versus battle, along with a supergroup with Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg. And most of you could probably tell from that episode how excited I was about this versus battle between 40 Water and Short Dog, because these are two of my favorite MCs, not just from the West Coast, but just two of my favorite MCs of all time. If I had a top 10 list, man, they would definitely be in that top 10. I got much love and respect for both of them. So fortunately, when I got off of work last night, excuse me, I was actually able to get to see a good bit of the live versus battle. There was a few channels here on YouTube that were streaming the battle live. I couldn't really do it from IGTV, and I couldn't do it from the Versus TV because I'm not registered on Versus TV or whatever. So I went on YouTube, and there was quite a few channels that were streaming it, and I watched a good bit of it. Although, for whatever reason, the streams weren't the best. A lot of the streams kept getting knocked off. I don't know if it was YouTube doing that or whatever. And then some of the streamers, they were kind of like interrupting in the middle of the battle. So thankfully, Revolt TV uploaded the full battle, I think, this morning. And later on the day, after I got out of church and everything, I came home and I watched the full battle from Revolt TV's YouTube channel, uninterrupted and everything. But let me tell you, man, this is probably no. You know what? There's no probably to it. I'm gonna go ahead and just claim E40 and Too Short as the best versus battle of the year. I think this was better than Gucci and Jeezy. And I'm going to tell you why I think it was better than Gucci and Jeezy. Because most people went into the Gucci and Jeezy battle kind of seeing what was going to happen. Because we all know about the beef between those two. I think people went into that trying to see if they was going to go at each other real hard. And that's not what it ended up being. But with E40 and Short, everybody knows that E40 and Short are close. They're best friends, or they're more than friends. They're brothers, not blood brothers, but that's just how close their relationship goes. So witnessing this versus battle, man, it was basically like a party, man. It was like, the way I looked at it, it was like watching Too Short and E40 in concert. If E40 and Too Short were on tour together, that's how I viewed it. Witnessing a live performance from both of them. And I hope that when 2021 rolls around, and hopefully if live shows get back into formation or whatever, man, that E40 and Short would do a tour or something, and hopefully come to my neck of the woods. Because judging by what they did on this versus battle, it's definitely gonna be a tight show. I mean, I was in my bedroom dancing. The whole time. Every time they was coming with them hits, I was dancing, bro. It was that exciting, man. And just to see the camaraderie between him and Short, how they was talking they junk, not necessarily at each other, but they was giving the game. They was giving the game, and they definitely represented for the Bay. Because when it comes to West Coast hip hop, the Bay Area really gets overlooked. And they contributed so much to hip hop culture. A lot of what we do in hip hop right now originated in the Bay, just like 40 was saying on the lot during the versus battle when they was having a talks in between, the battles. A lot of the slang that we use in hip hop, a lot of the way we dress, but the biggest thing of them all, the independent hustle that we have in hip hop originated in the Bay. You ask anybody, man, Master P got all his knowledge, his independent hustle from the Bay. People don't know that No Limit Records actually started out in Richmond, California, in the Bay Area. And that's where P learned to hustle. He actually got the game from E40's uncle, Uncle St. Charles. That's where so many of those young independent entrepreneurs out there got their game from, was E40's Uncle St. Charles. You have to understand, 40 and Short, they are hip-hop legends. They are hip-hop icons. They changed the game. These were two young men that were selling tapes out the trunk of their cars. Independently, they was making all the money. They were just riding around their respective cities, around the Bay, selling tapes out of literally selling tapes out of the trunk of their cars, moving hundreds of thousands of units, man. Moving units, over 100,000 units they was moving independently. And the labels came after them. They didn't go after the labels, man, because they was just fine selling those tapes out the trunk of their car, getting 100% of that bread, man. Jive Records came to them. So that's amazing, man. And let me talk about the versus battle for a minute. When Short and 40 came out, it kind of started off a tad bit slow, but I noticed though that once Short and 40 got a little drink in them, man, that's when everything really started to turn up, man. And it just became fun, man. I wasn't even looking at it as a battle no more. I was just looking at it as a huge party between E40 and Short. And I really enjoyed how they were telling stories in between the battles. How they was lacing everybody up with game, with how the Bay Area contributed to a lot of hip hop culture, like I just mentioned earlier. I liked how they was lacing everybody up with game. And I like how they represented for everybody too. They represented for the East Coast, the Midwest, and the South, because 40 and Short got love all over. They nationwide. Both of these guys are nationwide, and they got love all over. I liked how they tackled, the different eras of their careers. Short started with his early career in the Bay, and then he went to his era when he was in Atlanta, and he hooked up with Lil Jon. Then E40 did the same thing, when he did the whole Tell Me When to Go with Lil Jon and all that. I like how they represented the different eras of their career. One thing I do wish, though, I wish E40 had did a bit more of his Bay Area stuff. I mean, he did get the biggest ones, like he got Rapper's Ball, and he did Sprinkle Me. Sprinkle Me is one of E40's biggest songs, one of his most well-known songs. He did Sprinkle Me, and he did Hurricane. He did Hurricane from the Click album, Game Related. So he did get the biggest ones, but Short was hitting a lot of his Bay classes. Short came in with Freaky Tales, and he did Cuss Words. What else he did? Dope Fiend Beat. I know he did Dope Fiend Beat. He didn't. What else did he do? I'm trying to think what else he did. He did Freaky Tales. He did Dope Fiend Beat. Oh yeah, he did Life Is Too Short. Yeah, he did Life Is Too Short, and he did Short But Funky. But yeah, I wish E40 had did more of those, more of his like classic songs from like back in the 90s and stuff. I wish him and Short had did From the Ground Up that had Casey and JoJo on it. I wish he had did From the Ground Up, and he did though. I Hope I Don't Go Back to Slangin' Yayo. He did do that song. Trying to think what else. But I noticed 40 kind of focused more on his more like he focused more on the stuff his more recent catalog, because 40 got a long catalog. Him and Short both got long catalogs of music, man. If you go on that Wikipedia page, him and Short got at least about 40 albums. If it ain't 40, they at least got 30. And E40, man, I think since 2010, he's been releasing albums. He's been releasing like 3 and 4 albums on the same day. I think he started with that revenue retrieving. He started with the revenue retrieving albums, and then I think when he did the Welcome to the Soil records, he was releasing like 3 and 4 albums at the same time. So 40 Watt have been putting in a lot of work when it comes to pushing out the records, man. And Short been doing it as well. I think Short is like on his 30th album, maybe. I could be wrong about that, but I know both of these dudes got a long catalog. And they had so many hits. They had so many hits, man. It was really hard for me to try to decide who was the winner, who was really the winner, man. But it was just a real interesting versus party, man. I like how they was having fun, how they was talking that junk. E40 and Too Short, man, they're like those OGs in the hood that the young cats want to be around. They want to soak up game from. They want to have a good. They like the cool uncles in the family that you want to be around and soak up game and learn a lot from. That's how E40 and them are. That's why I'm such a huge fan of their music, man, because listening to their music, man, I can tell you from personal experience, man, I learned a lot from listening to their songs. I mean, I know on the song Rapper's Delight, not Rapper's Delight, Rapper's Ball with Too Short, which that was the first song that E40 and Too Short collaborated on. I like that line in one of the verses where E40 says, "Don't buy an $85,000 car before you buy a house." That line right there is something that really has stuck with me, because so many people do it so many people do it wrong, man. You go out here and trying to buy you a luxurious car and you still living at your mama's house, man. You doing it wrong. So that right there, that's one example of how E40 and Short are game spitters, man. Like if you really listen to their songs, yes, they rapping, but they also lacing you up with game. They also like giving you lessons. And I'll tell you one thing, Too Short, on his song called The Ghetto, which I forgot The Ghetto, Too Short performed that. He performed that on the versus battle. But there's a line, I think in the 4th verse of the song, where Too Short says, "Even though some people give you no respect, be intelligent when you put them in check. Because when you're ignorant, you get treated that way. And when you're thrown in jail, you got nothing to say." That particular quote right there is something that I've always it's something that really stood out to me when I first heard The Ghetto, when I first heard that song. It's a line that really resonated with me because, you can put people in check without taking the ignorant route. You can be smart and put people in their place. When you choose the ignorant route, it just escalates the situation and it just makes things worse for you. So that's something right there that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind too, man. And even when it comes to like situations with women, I'm not saying that I totally have taken advice from E40 and Too Short, especially Too Short, but it's just that there's some things that they talk about in their music that are based off of real life situations, and when you listen to them, you kind of look around you kind of observe your surroundings, and you kind of see that, hey, that same situation I heard in the E40 song, I heard that situation in a Too Short song, and then you think about what they said in that song and the scenario and how whether it was a good or bad outcome. You think about what they said, and you kind of, at least for me, I kind of think like, hey man, I heard that in that Too Short song, man. That scenario, that whole outcome wasn't so great. So that's what I'm saying, man. There's a lot of messages behind what E40 and Too Short say. That's why I said they're like those uncles, those OG uncles that you hang out with, and you try to they lace you up with game so you can stay sharp and not, fall victim to anything, And I think that's a good example of what's missing a lot in hip hop today. Now, I'm not trying to bash today's newer hip hop. I even like a lot of the new hip hop artists and the new music that's out there. Sometimes I like to hear the ignorant stuff where you just want to turn up and have a good time. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it was stuff like that out back then in the 90s and stuff of that nature. That stuff was out back then. You know, it's just that it was more of a balance back then. But now, you know, you have just, it's all about turning up, and there's really no lessons. There's really no artists out there that's really telling you something that can lace you up with game and keep you sharp, like E40 and Short, man. So it's almost as if 40 and Short are like the last of a breed, you know. But yeah, man, this was a great battle, man. I really enjoyed what I saw. Let me tell you something about E40, man. If you haven't seen the battle, let me tell you something about E40. E40, he kind of stole the show a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, man. E40 kind of stole the show a little bit, man. Because once he got that drink in him, man, he was showing off, man. I didn't know E40 could dance like that. I didn't know E40 could dance. I mean, he was going off every time one of his songs came on. Or, well, it didn't have to be one of his songs. It could have been one of Short songs. But if he was feeling it, if he was in that vibe, man, he was going off, man. I mean, I had no idea that E40 could dance the way he does, man. And I'm gonna tell you another highlight that I took from the battle, man. When I don't know, I don't want to. You know what? Forget it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. I think it was when Too Short performed Cuss Words, man, and he came out with the Oakland A's jacket and the gold rope, and he had the hat tilted to the side, man, looking like that classic Too Short from like 88, 89. And he started performing Cuss Words, man. Ooh, man, that was on point right there, man. That was 40 wanted somebody to go back and get his black beanie hat and some type of coat. Yeah, it was funny, man. But when Short came out there with the classic Oakland A's jacket on and a gold rope with the hat on tilted to the side, man, I was like, oh snap, man. Short ain't playing, man. But I don't really know who I could say won the battle. I will tell you this, man. E40 had some more slappers. A lot of his music had a bit more slap to it, man. Like, and I already knew that, man. E40, his production and beat selection, man. He be having some bangers, man. Like 40 had some bangers, man. But Short was there too. Short was there with it too. Like that one part in the battle when they started playing a new Too Short song off that double album that him and E40 just dropped, which is called Ain't Gonna Do It in Terms and Conditions. Too Short's album was called Ain't Gonna Do It, and E40's album is called Terms and Conditions, and they released it together as a double album, pretty much like what Outkast did with Speakerboxxx and The Love Below. But yeah, man, when that song called Ain't Gonna Do It came on, man, that was nasty, man. I mean, when they started playing that Ain't Gonna Do It by Too Short, man, that song right there, that's a slapper, man. That's a slapper. When that 808 bass started kicking, I was like, whoa, man, that's some mob music right there. That's some Bay mob music right there. Cause that bass started hitting, and I started hearing that chorus and Short coming in, rapping. I was like, I immediately went on Spotify and I started listening to that album. I think I listened to it like 4 times last night. So I definitely urge y'all to go and check out that new Too Short and E40 album, Ain't Gonna Do It / Terms and Conditions, because that whole entire album, Short side and 40 side, both bang. It's straight fire, man. Every song on that album is killer. It's a stellar record, man. But yeah, when they started playing that Ain't Gonna Do It, man, that thing started slapping. I was like, oh man, I definitely got to go check out this record, man. But it was an awesome battle. It was an awesome battle. And you know what, honestly, I don't even really look at it as a battle per se. To me, this was just two brothers from the Bay having a good time, man. It was fun, man. Like I said, like I said, you know, they was a bit more on point earlier in the battle because they weren't really drinking. But once both of them got to drinking, and then Too Short, he mixed some Ciroc with one of E40's liquor brands. And Short was lit. I think 40, you could tell 40 was a little tipsy too, man, but Short was way more lit because he had mixed like two liquors with each other, man. So I don't even know how Short might be hung over today. I don't know, but you could tell Short was lit, man. But both of them was having a real good time, man. It was just like a huge party, man. I wish I could have just been there in person and just witnessed that, man. Cause dude, it was just so awesome, man. I definitely got to see E40 and Too Short live, man. I hope that after this whole versus battle that they will actually maybe do a tour off of this. And then they started talking about the super group that they got with Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube called Mount Westmore. You know, Too Short started talking about that. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that record, especially if they gonna have bangers like the ones that they played at that versus battle. Yo, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that album. I mean, you got 4 of my favorite MCs on one album together. E40, Too Short, Snoop Dogg, and Ice Cube. 2 representing the Bay, 2 representing LA. That's gonna be awesome too, man. But yeah, I really enjoyed this versus battle, man. You know, I was just really excited to see this, man, because, man, 40 and Short, man, they are a huge inspiration for me. These are 2 brothers, man, that they just hit the ground. They just put foot to the pavement, hit the ground running, and they built like an empire off of hip hop. You know, these two gentlemen are an example of how, you know, you don't just have to focus on being a rapper. You can you can use hip hop as a stepping stone, and you can build that into an empire. I mean, both of these guys are entrepreneurs. Both of them got entrepreneurs, man. Like, come on, Too Short got his own soda now. Too Short got his own strawberry soda. And he was even drinking it during the battle, man. Too Short got his own strawberry soda, man, and E40 got his own brand of alcohol, and I think he's about to start like his own food called Goon with a Spoon. I mean, these 2 brothers, man. Yeah, this is really personal for me, man, to witness this battle, man, because, like I said, man, they're just an inspiration to me, man. Like two brothers, man. These dudes just came from nothing and turned it into something. Now they built an empire, and they're just entrepreneurs making their money, sitting on heavy paper, man. It's just a huge inspiration to me to see that, man. It makes me want to, it inspires me. It makes me want to go harder with this podcast, man. You know, because it makes me want to just keep going with it. And, you know, and I stay praying and I stay hoping that, you know, I keep going, I don't give up, and it's going to lead to more opportunities, maybe even bigger than what I'm expecting to get, man. But just seeing those 2 guys come together, man, and do this versus battle, man, it was a fun night, man. Like I said, if you haven't seen the versus battle between E40 and Too Short, I definitely urge y'all to go to Revolt TV's YouTube channel. They just uploaded it today. It was an awesome battle. It was good. It was funny. It was exciting to see these 2 just turn out those hits, man. Cause man, they got so many hits. And you know, Too Short said something. He said something. He's like, how many rappers you know that can have all kinds of hits within like 4 decades? What, from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s? I mean, that's 5 decades actually. Like, honestly, how many rappers can say that they have that many hits within 5 decades? How many rappers can say that? How many of y'all know any rappers? How many rappers do y'all know That's what I'm trying to say. How many rappers do y'all know that have that many hits in 5 decades? There's not too many rappers that can say they have that. I don't know too many MCs that can say that they have that many hits in 5 decades. And 40 Watt and Short Dog are both in their early to mid 50s, man. They've been doing it since the 80s. They've been doing it since the 80s. And that's another thing that I liked about them telling the stories. You know, Too Short talked about how him and E40 actually knew each other before they was making records, which is something that was new to me, because I didn't know that they actually went back into the mid 80s. Because E40 was talking about how, because E40's from Vallejo, Too Short's from Oakland, and E40 was talking about how Vallejo and Oakland, you know, they used to hang with each other. Like Vallejo and Oakland is tight like that, and they had the same family. You know, they ran it within the same people. Like Too Short's friends was friends with 40 with them, so their whole friendship or brotherhood goes all the way back to like the mid 80s before rap, which E40 likes to refer to as BR, man. So I thought that was amazing, man, that they whole relationship went back before either one of them were famous rappers. So I thought that was cool, man. And probably I think another highlight was when E40 and Short performed Rapper's Ball. I thought that was another big highlight. You know, because that was the first song that they collaborated on. And it actually stemmed from a whole situation that Too Short was having with KMEL radio station out there. It's a long story, but to give you the highlight, they tried to like pit E40 and Too Short against each other. And both of them were smart enough not to fall for it. And that's how that whole collaboration, Rapper's Ball, came about. And ever since then, Too Short and E40 have always collaborated with each other. I don't think there's too many albums where E40 and Too Short don't make appearances with each other. You know, and about 8 years ago now, they finally released 2 albums together. It was E40 and Too Short, History of Function and Mob Music. Now this was a actual collaboration album where it was Too Short and E40 rapping on the songs together, not like this double album. But you know, I could go all night about this, man. It was just really exciting to see these two icons come together and do this versus battle. Hands down, I'm proclaiming this as the best versus battle of the year. It was a great way to end the year. If you haven't watched this battle, definitely go on Revolt TV's YouTube channel and check it out. I guarantee you're gonna love it. It's probably gonna have you dancing. Well, actually, no, probably too. I'm for sure it's gonna have you dancing. It was just an awesome battle, and it's got me on the Too Short and E40 kit right now, man. That's all I've been kind of blasting here lately is E40 and Too Short, man. And definitely go check out that new album that they just dropped called Ain't Gonna Do It / Terms and Conditions, man, because that whole entire project is really dope. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and give like a brief recap / review on the Too Short and E40 battle, because I was so excited that I got to even see a good chunk of it live. And I was just really excited to see my two favorite rappers doing this, man. And I don't even know who I would say won. You know, I think it was a draw. I think it was a bit of a draw, because there were moments where like 40 was kind of like, I don't know, man, I think 40 got this one. And then there was other moments where it was like, dang, I don't know, man, Short came out with that one. I think Short got it with this one, man. So I don't know, man. I really think it was a draw, man. And then there was a point where it kind of turned into like just a party between the both of them. So if anything, I say the Bay won. I think the Bay won. I think this versus battle is going to really show a lot of young people out there how much the Bay has contributed to hip-hop culture. So I'm really glad that they did this, man, because the Bay Area is long overdue for its recognition to what it brought to hip-hop, man. And what better way to do that than have the two biggest representatives of the Bay Area to come together and do this, man. But yeah, definitely go and check out the Too Short E40 versus battle, man. It was really awesome. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in to this quick little episode of the Boombox Guru. And as always, hope you all out there have a blessed day. Hope you all be safe. And, stay tuned and keep it locked in for another episode pretty soon. Peace out. What's good, everybody? Hope you enjoyed this new episode of the Boombox Guru. And if you did enjoy this episode, I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you to follow me on Spotify at the Boombox Guru. Check it out on Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public. You can also follow my Instagram page at the Boombox Guru. You can also like my page on Facebook, known as the Boombox Guru. Just go ahead and check me out. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody that you know that might be interested in this type of content about the Boombox Guru. And as always, hope everyone has a lovely day and be blessed.